to. Okay, we're live. Hello, buddy. We're live on YouTube. Let's see if anyone shows up. Let's move it down a bit. That's good. So, Betty, we're on camera now. Hello, everyone, and happy Friday again. Thank you for those of you who have tuned in or who will be tuning in. Let me see if my volume is okay. Looks good. Who will be tuning in later on to the recording. Betty and I came to answer some questions. There was a question that I've been meaning to answer for a long time that was posted on the comment section of one of my videos. I think it's how to develop courage in the face of fear. And this person, which goes by the name of Confessions of a Former Fat Chick, had asked if I can cover the topic regarding feelings of guilt. She didn't say the word shame, but I'm going to cover the word. I'm going to cover the topic of shame as well. When it comes to having feelings of, from what I understood, the comment was that this person feels that they have contributed somehow to the trauma that was either experienced by them or another person. So I want to begin by first, acknowledging and saying thank you to this beautiful individual who was brave enough to come and be vulnerable and ask that question. I think it's so important for us to ask meaningful questions, like true questions. Of course, there's no question that is not a good question, but questions with substance that are really going to refine and shape our life. So this is one of those questions. How do we deal with this internal feelings of guilt when we have participated in something that could have harmed myself or someone else? And I'm going to tell you a story of, in Buddhism, there's a story of the two arrows. When we get shot by an arrow, of course, it's very painful. And, the immediate, say we got shot by an arrow right here in the chest, usually it's when our, heart pains, emotional pains, where we feel it most. The initial response is pain. And over time, when we have removed the arrow and perhaps healing have started to begin occurring, a lot of us, including myself, we have kept this arrow because we want to know so much about this arrow, not so much about, was this arrow, what wood is this arrow made out of? Like what arrow did they use? Did they use a obsidian arrow? Did they use an iron, a copper? Like what was it made out of? And most importantly, who shot this arrow? It's okay, buddy. There's someone there. Who shot this arrow and why did they do that? And so what we do, including myself, is we hold on to the arrow and we keep it and then we put it on display for us to look at. Oh, there's comments. I'll answer the comments soon. We keep the arrow in display to our most valuable possessions. And then every now and then when we feel reminded about this occurrence, what we do is we take the arrow, we examine it, and we remember, oh my gosh, I was shot by this arrow by so-and-so, and I remember that feeling, and just so I could remember it, I'm going to shoot myself with that arrow. Of course, we're doing this subconsciously, but the feelings are extremely extremely real. The second arrow that we shoot ourselves with is just as potent and painful as the first arrow that we got shot at. So the first arrow was shot at us. It wasn't our fault. We had nothing to do with it. Someone was probably in a lot of pain, and in order to release that pain, we tend to shoot arrows to the people around us. And we were in the vicinity. We happened to be at the place and the time where the arrows were being shot, and we got hit. And of course, it's very painful, but the keeping of the arrow and shooting oneself of the arrow is even more is even more potent, because what happens is we keep this arrow and we shoot ourselves over and over again. And for a lot of us, including myself, that could be a whole life's journey of how do we learn to stop shooting ourselves with the arrow, because instead of focusing on the arrow and who shot it and why, it's important to begin the work of healing our wounds, put the arrow down, and not shoot ourselves anymore, so that our wound could fully heal and close. So why is that story important? Because there are some moments in our life where we were in pain. We might have shot arrows because the pain is so deep, and we might have inflicted this arrow upon someone else, and in doing so, that could have caused them a lot of pain. And this is where the compassion really comes in, the compassion for yourself and for the people who shot arrows towards you. Because what I could tell you is that every single one of us have been victims of arrows being shot at us and us shooting arrows to people. There's not one person here who is completely innocent. And having this understanding and acknowledgement that the painful arrows that we shoot and get shot out of us comes from a source of pain and suffering helps us a little bit be more conscious of what connects us as sentient beings. As human beings, we are connected by this deep longing to relieve the suffering and this pain. So knowing that the person who shot me an arrow did so unconsciously because of the pain that they're experiencing, and I have at times shot arrows because of the pain that I was experiencing, helps us a little bit understand the nature of this universe, the nature of our pain and suffering. And so where does the guilt come in and the shame? So I want to I want to ask you, for people who are listening, thank you so much for, I talk a lot, so thank you for staying with me so far. Before I continue, I'm just going to read these comments here. So I have childhood trauma from an abusive father. My father take me, should unfortunately leave. They're toxic. I had to cut them off. So thank you so much for sharing that, Amber. Setting those healthy boundaries are definitely helpful so that we can heal, because we can't heal when there's people who are shooting arrows at us constantly. So creating that space away from them can be a really useful time so that you can start healing yourself. Thank you, Megan, for the purple hearts and the thank you and the stars. Hi to you too, Imlaur. I hope I'm pronouncing that. And Amber, I wish I could watch this by a pitched nerve. Okay, I see. I see. So, okay, in that case, I hope that you could replay this and listen to it later on. So, going back to this feelings of guilt. So, first we have to understand, what is this feeling of guilt and what is the feeling of shame? So, this person who asked me this question mentioned the word guilt. And I like that. I like that they mentioned the word guilt, because guilt is a little bit more, it's a little bit less permanent. It's a little less personal than shame. So let me give you an example. Um, when I was a kid, I do things sometimes that I wasn't supposed to do. Pretend like I was sick so that I miss school. And I feel guilty for that. I really feel awful for having done that, for playing this trickery. I didn't mean to. Like, I was just trying to do what I could to get by. um However, say I got caught by either my teacher or my parents, and say, say my mother told me that, um, that wasn't really, say she got angry. This didn't really happen. I'm just making it up for an example. Say she got really angry and she told me that, I'm really upset of what you did. Lying is not a good thing. And, say she got really upset and called me a liar. There's a difference between lying and somebody who is a liar. If you were called a liar, um, a deep sense of identity starts beginning to form around that word and what that means. So, um, being considered a liar, like an identity forming into that creates this sense of feeling of shame that somehow something inside of me, like, or who I am, is not a good thing because of this thing. I'm a liar. I'm not an honest person. Versus someone who is, I really didn't want to go to school and I lied. And, and that's okay. I feel guilty about it, but I'm going to get over it. That doesn't make me a bad person. So, do you see there the difference between guilt and shame? That you guys, if you're still with me, give me a sign that I am making sense here. Either a thumbs up, an okay, something in the comments. Um, so, feeling guilty about an event that took place that could have harmed yourself or someone else. I was reading. I wanted to share this with you. It's a book called Hawaiian Shamanistic Healing, and I really very clear. Thank goodness. um, and this is one of the ways I help people. This book contains information about one of the ways that I help people process this feeling of guilt and shame. Um, and the healing practice comes from Hawaii. So I'm so eternally grateful, and I acknowledge and honor the peoples who lived on those islands, who's helped pass their knowledge and share it with us, their wisdom. When I was in Hawaii, I picked this little tiki man, and it's supposed to help me find happiness wherever I go. So I carry him. It's hard to carry, but I keep him beside my bedroom. Anyway, the point is, what I'm trying to say here is that a lot of the antidotes to some of the more raw and strong emotions that can keep us stuck, mind you, all of these have a purpose. The feelings of guilt and the feelings of shame helps us want to understand and reconcile. Um, the reason why we're feeling guilty and ashamed is a good thing, because if we weren't feeling that, then we just don't care. We're just, a jackass. We did something wrong and we're not willing to amend the wrong. So the fact that we're willing to look within ourselves and say, you know what, I shouldn't have done that. And it's also important to realize, because a lot of people who have trauma may feel ashamed for being victimized by the person perpetrating the trauma, and that's a completely different subject. Okay, it's the same feeling. It's more like shame that's presenting there, but the person, I believe, if I interpret the question, said that they may have done something that have led to the trauma of themselves or others, and they felt guilty, so they didn't even use the word shame. So I'm going to answer the question based on that. So in this book that I'm reading, there's a really well-known practice called Ho'oponopono. Has anyone heard this? Try saying that 4 times. Ho'oponopono is it's hard to, and I don't want to just simplify it or misrepresent it, but I feel that it's truly connected to the Hawaiian way of life, the what they call aloha aina, the way they live with the land and they carry themselves. So I want to treat that with such reverence and respect. And Ho'oponopono is a wonderful practice of reconciliation. In our world today, there's so much traumas that are surfacing, intergenerational, societal traumas that are being uprooted and being brought to the surface for all of us to witness finally and begin the work of reconciliation. So, although this is creating a lot of turbulence in our world, it's necessary. We are in the age of Aquarius after all, and we're all in this process of moving forward to a more wholesome state as a human race. So, anyway, Ho'oponopono contains four mantras, so to speak, four powerful, powerful statements. The first one is a statement asking for forgiveness. So the first one is I'm sorry. And saying I'm sorry really from the depths of your heart, like your full breath and life into it. I'm sorry. First, asking sorry and forgiveness to yourself. It's important to do that. Then asking forgiveness to the people we've harmed, and complete forgiveness, putting down that arrow and acknowledging that somebody who shot this arrow was in pain. When I shot the arrow, I was in extreme pain. So I'm sorry I've done that. Please forgive me. So being sorry internally and feeling remorseful for the whole event, and then taking an active stance to say, please forgive me. Now, if this individual is no longer in your life, or for some reason you're not able to contact them anymore, that's totally okay. What you can do is on your altar, which I have right here, you can place an image of them, and you can meditate and send them this loving kindness, which is another practice that I can certainly talk about in the future. So, I'm sorry, please forgive me. The third one is really powerful. I love you. I love you in a way that is, because love is being kind of, being misinterpreted, and it's really, what is really love? What I can say is like love that really emanates warmth and pure, genuine compassion from within. That is the love that we're trying to cultivate to ourselves completely and to others. So I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. And then the last one is thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for allowing me to even express my feelings. Thank you for allowing me to feel guilty and ashamed. And thank you for allowing me to rectify the wrongs that I have done. Whether you're feeling like you're the perpetrator or the victim, I like to combine this practice with what is called soul retrieval in a lot of indigenous practices. They believe that the soul can exit your soul. Your soul can exit your body. And I've experienced that several times in my life, and I needed to bring it back, come home to who I truly am. Ho'oponopono is a powerful practice, and Buddy had helped me a lot in retrieving my soul because I was entering a really dark time, which is really natural for me because I get really affected by the darkness. And I live in the northern hemisphere in Canada, so we have very little light. Right now, it's very dark outside already. So what I do is that, I've been practicing this meditation and really inviting the soul back in, asking I'm sorry, starting with the heart, and then brushing my arms to my hands to my arms to bring back the sensations. Um, Please forgive me, and being genuine about it, and just touching your entire body and caressing it. Um, in our bodies, we have what is called meridians. These are energetic circuits where the chi or the life force flows, prana, what have you. And by caressing your body in a very gentle way, and speaking these 4 powerful statements of Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. We can begin to start to melt away that frozen stuckness. We begin to soften, and we begin to um, allow compassion and forgiveness to enter. Thank you, Emily. These are things that are all in my course. Actually, this is a little sneak peek. This week we're doing the heart chakra. So we're everything about compassion and forgiveness, and how to cultivate a relationship with ourselves first, so that when we get to the Sahasrara, which is the crown chakra, we can then radiate ourselves like a fountain of love to every single sentient beings in the community. And we're gonna. I should probably do the meditation I was referring to is a Tibetan practice called Tonglen, how to take the world suffering, yourself and your suffering, and transmute it or transfigure it, as I'd like to call it, into pure love consciousness. Um, Thank you, Megan, for sharing that you've had an experience of soul retrieval in dream time when I saw my soul leave my body from a point of view of my higher self. That is what a wonderful, like, I can't even imagine what that experience would be like, and I would love to hear more about it. Actually, that's incredible. It has been known for people to be able to leave their body. Like, we have the astral, ethereal bodies with people who are capable of lucid dreaming. Um, I'm not sure if that's the same experience, but being able to see yourself outside of your body, that's really powerful. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Emily, for sharing your comments. Janessa, I love the hearts. She's actually here right now. Want to say hi, Janessa? She's with Buddy. So let's see what time it is. Have I overshot my time? No, we're still good. It's only 22 minutes. So, um, are there any questions for tonight? Please drop them in the comments. And while you guys are thinking of questions, or maybe pondering this practice, I'd like to invite you all to be a part of my newsletter. That's so important because, as you know, I'm quite against social media. I don't use Facebook or Instagram. So my primary way of communicating, like the hub, the center of everything, when I release new episodes or I have free events, such as burning ceremonies, which I tend to do. I may, have one very soon. So, if you sign up to the newsletter on my website, traumatransfiguration.com, you'll get an invitation. It's just a really nice place to be able to reach people on a more deeper level. I'm able to convey more in-depth letters to people that way. And at the same time, you can also reply to these emails and ask your questions. I do that. I answer them. And before I close off, I just want to say thank you. Mahalo, as they would say in Hawaiian, for listening to me this Friday evening and spending time with me. I'm not sure which time zones you're in, but it truly is an honor for me to be able to share these messages with all of you. I'm not someone who is better than anyone or has, higher than anyone. I'm just like all of you. We're all, divine beings in human bodies experiencing a very human experience. And I believe, that it is my purpose here to share light, especially in places of darkness. Like this room, it's quite dark, but this is my friend. Yes, my friend Fred. um, he's been with me for a long time. He's kind of like my good luck charm. Um, Fate of age not to use social media, so I applaud you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Megan, for your support. Like honestly, I've enjoyed our conversation through the comments, and I can't wait to finally meet you. You're so. I checked out your channel. Like it's something that I would love to promote. So Starseed Cauldron has this beautiful channel. It's very I don't know what the word is, mystical. Like if you, how I feel like mysticism. It's really rooted into the like whenever like I have to listen to it more, but it's kind of like out of this world. I feel like it's quite universal and just very deep. So thank you for the artwork that you create, Starseed Cauldron, Megan. These are something that I'd love to be able to listen to as I sleep, and perhaps I could, have that outer body experience that you've had. So, thank you all so much for joining me tonight. And I think I'd leave it to that. Oh, yeah, if you guys are interested in the books that I share, I will put in the description. I have a Pinterest page where I pinned all the books that have influenced me. So this one, Hawaiian Shamanistic Healing by Wayne Lohi, Powell, and Patricia Lynn Miller. It's a really beautiful book. I'm so grateful that they shared their indigenous wisdom with all of us, because oftentimes, indigenous wisdom need to be respected. Not all wisdom can be shared, but the ones that are shared are truly appreciated. So mahalo so much. And yeah, it's just, being Austronesian myself and having grown up in the Pacific Islands, we always share a connection like with our mother ocean and our ways of life, our practices, the way we tattoo each other, the way we eat taro. There's just so much. The Ring of Fire, like the Pacific Islands, they are. It's a big community. We are people of the same that voyaged by canoes out into these islands in the middle of the sea. So thank you so much. All right, I think that's it for me before I keep going on. It was an indicator for me that I'm on the ascension path. Thank you again, Megan. That's so beautiful. I'm happy that this is creating positive messages for people. Right, buddy? Come, let's go say goodbye. Come here, buddy. Good boy. Come here. You want to play with the tiki man? Come here. He's wagging his tail. Goodbye. Bye, everyone. See you next time. See you next Friday.